What's up, Rad Potential YouTube? We out here in the shop doing some stuff on the front of the race car, and we've been making some progress, but it's not super filmable progress, you know. So, stripped, pressure washed, cleaned. Y'all saw that. I cut this big corner out. This is all rusty. I did my best to straighten this up, get some of the little pinches out of it. Straighten this piece. I just gotta grab that with the pliers and tweak the little bolt spot over. This side looking fresh. So I already went through, welded all the holes. I got a couple more like this one and this one I'm going to weld up here shortly. That goes to the deal. I'm going to go ahead and cut another piece of steel to lay in here and just kind of form it my best that I can to the bottom and get it all smooth. Then I'll cut it out so it'll fit right up in there, weld it up, seam seal it, donezo. So this section was just, as you can see, crusty rusty under the battery tray. It's normal on RX7s, so check for rust there. Then I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna pop this brake booster off, I think, and I'm gonna pull this wiring and flip it up out of the way, and then I'm gonna get to town with the old the wire wheel. We're gonna start cleaning this baby up. So you got to get as much of this crap off here. I'm going to go through as well, smooth out all my welds, my holes I covered and are filled, so that way they're rocking and rolling. And yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm stoked. Body work. Alright guys, fairly successful. So that probably doesn't look like much has changed beside the booster's gone, but basically, there's a couple more holes back here I got to weld shut, but I ran out of welding gas. So you can see like that one, this one, and I think it was this one they have taped over from the back so you can't ever see them. So we got those out. I also went through and just ground my welds down on these and all through here and started back down in there too. But it's getting late and I've been at it for a little while, just kind of patching holes and doing the whole 1-2 on this unit, plus having to crawl into the dash to get the booster out kind of sucked. So it's a 12mm. Don't forget to bring a needle nose to get the cotter pin out for the brake push rod. So I did that. But if you bring one with you the first time you crawl under there, you can get it all out. Also pulled the throttle cable. We got all these just dangling in here. So basically what I'm going to do is I'll clean and prep everywhere behind them, pull them out of the way, paint, we'll put them back up. I am going to paint the whole tunnel and everything, so the exhaust is probably going to get dropped out from underneath the car like tomorrow. And I really don't like how this is like a positive wire for the battery. I really don't like how that's ran just through this hole, and I can't get that crimp connector back off. So that might be getting cut, and I'll weld that hole shut too. So this is slowly turning into like a full restoration. Maybe I won't sell this car when I'm done. Just kidding. It'll be for sale. Hit me up. So I'm gonna call it for the night. Tomorrow, back to the same stuff. Alright guys and girls, it's been a long week of progress-ish kinda on this thing. Well, long weekend. Yeah, so I got a patch panel whipped up here real quick for this. Just kinda want to show you my process. So basically all I did was go ahead, it's a bad line. I went ahead and just cut the rust out. You see it down there. And then I bent up a piece and just tacked it in here in a couple places so I can basically like hold it and form fit it. And then I came down here at the bottom and so you can see we just hammered it until it fits in there pretty good. Then I'm going to mark the edges and I'm going to go ahead and grind the tacks off. So I'm going to grind these two tacks off here. This is going to come out. I'm going to cut it on my lines that I just marked. Then we'll put it back in there and we'll do like the final fit. So this is just a test fit to get all the bends right so I can hammer it to the contours. And then once I got it hammered to the contours, I'll trim the edges off, weld it in there. So that's what we're working on. Let's get cracking. Alright guys, cranking away. We are fully welded, clean, grinded on everything. off. All the spots are smoothed down. The spot welds are all smoothed everywhere. There, and there. This plate's all welded in, smoothed out the best I can get it. Smooth as a race car. So basically moving forward, I'm going to fire up the wire wheel and I'm going to go through and clean as much of this junk and crap and old paint off as I can. I'm going to go ahead and just tape off the VIN numbers and stuff, because I'll clean and paint those by hand just so we don't mess it up. And then yeah, and then hopefully tomorrow I'll pretty much have like the whole front clip basically, so from where the fender's inboard and the cowl and everything, get all that cleaned and prepped, and tomorrow I can spray it. Just found a weld I didn't grind off, so hopefully I don't find many more. I think we're still looking good. Finishing up. Fire's dead. Movie's almost over. I got this half sanded and prepped. Here, I guess we'll just say all this up to the firewall. The rest of this has been wire wheeled what I could reach. Everything's smooth, both on the inside and outside of the fender, or the top and the bottom of the fender. It's all been ground off in the bottom of the fenders too. What do you see, dog? I don't see nothing. If it's armadillo, holler. I guess that's a holler. I probably go check. Got to finish clean up this corner and this side a little bit yet, and then tape it off. And tomorrow the engine bay will get some paint. What is up, guys? Got the primer down. So it's just like a light coat of etch primer, basically just to get in all the places that were bare metal. Not really going for full coverage or anything, just trying to cover the metal. So we got all that done. Time to let this sit, bake on here a little bit. Then I'm going to go back and mask everything off that I don't want to be white. So the harness, the K-member, the front tension bar pickups, this front bar here I'm going to leave black. Just probably throw a towel over the center and then mask everything else off. And mask off the fuel lines, stuff like that, brake lines. Just get it all covered. So basically my plan is the frame rails and in are going to be black. The tunnel is going to be white, down pretty much as far as you can see, and then I'm going to do some gold heat wrap on this side to mainly to look cool, but it does help a little bit with the heat. So we'll do the gold heat wrap over there, and I'm going to use that gold heat wrap to cover up those two AC holes. One of the things I did not want to weld closed on this car was the air conditioning stuff, for the reason that nothing under the dash has been harmed far enough that you couldn't put AC back in. So if you would want to put AC back in this car for your race car, you definitely could. So I also went through, and while I was doing everything, I wire wheeled and cleaned the whole inner fender out, where I had smoothed down all those welds and everything, just to kind of get all the dirt and crap off. Same thing on this side. So basically once the top side's done, and then I start spraying black, I'll mask off everything that's white, and we'll do that rock guard, so it's more like a glossy undercoating, not very rubbery. It's what I did on Charles's rotary truck to the backs of the fenders. So I'm going to get some rock guard, and basically we're going to do everything on the bottom with rock guard. So I still haven't decided if I'm going to do anything with the lower control arms and just kind of the hanging stuff. Probably just clean them up, touch them up with some black, and call it a day. So when we return, we'll be spraying some white. Alrighty, guys, finally coming to an end. Look at that. Got down the tunnel, find all the fuel lines, everything up in here, the bottom of that, you name it. So basically I still got, it's been drying, but I'll mess with it tomorrow. I'm going to tape off the bottom of that frame rail, tape off right above this frame rail, because I want this frame rail black and that one white. And then this bar here will be black. So everything will be black. So I got to go ahead and do that. Whilst the garage has been warm, I have been working on an engine harness. So I've been taking, I already did. So this is your GSLC engine harness. I'll just lay it on the ground so you can see all of it. So basically a general rundown. So this is the firewall, this is the cabin side, this is the engine side. So coming right off that, there's a couple little vacuum solenoids on the firewall that we don't need. A couple test ports here. Moving forward, we've got the little fuel controller thingy that goes on the side, your mass airflow sensor, BAC and stuff. Right here, these are your injectors and your O2 sensor and coolant temp sensor, TPS, BAC or idle air control valve or whatever, same thing up there. So basically what I did is I stripped all of the electrical tape off of it. There's that. So I stripped all the electrical tape off, marked where each like lead needs to exit the harness, just cleaned everything, and I'm gonna go back through and I've been retaping everything. So basically, there's a lot of people that don't like to electrical tape wiring harnesses because it makes a mess and it gets hard and then it cracks off and whatever. In my opinion, whatever you're willing to put the time in to do, that's what you should do. So for me, the electrical tape works good because it keeps the majority of the crap out. You can always cut it off and redo it, and I'm literally taking me 2 hours to redo it. You could fight with using this loom stuff right here, which you can see. This is like that corrugated pipe looking stuff. But what I found with this is it keeps just as much dirt in as it does dirt out. So like you see the dirt on the outside, there's still dirt on the inside, you know, because it's cracked. So that's just my kind of opinion. I've done harnesses with that. I've done harnesses with that like nylon stuff, and I'm just gonna electrical tape this one. So basically the goal for the electrical tape part is just to go through, make sure all the wires are fine. It's a 40-year-old harness. Everything is good. We're taping it back up, and we're gonna go ahead and get it reinstalled. So with painting the bay and stuff, I still got to paint this corner back here, and I'm going to pull this harness and kind of do the same thing. This one's in a lot better shape just because there's not a lot of heat on this side because that's a chassis harness versus the harness that's over here runs on top of the engine, so it kind of gets a lot hotter, a little more crispy and crunchy. So with that, this video is painting this bay, and I know it probably still looks like it has a ton of holes, but for those that have worked on these cars before, this had a bunch of holes over here, bunch of holes back there, a few holes up here for the air box, bunch of holes back there for sensors and stuff. Also the firewall's been like fully deleted on the top, so you know, only holes for the hood latch, holes for the sprayer thing, holes for the wiper motor, everything else pretty much blocked off. Luckily the VIN plate screws on, so right through these little holes, 2 little screws. So I unscrewed the VIN plate earlier and it's sitting up here, so we'll put the VIN plate back on. That way there's no bogus tape marks and stuff, so it should look pretty nice. And just a comparison, so the original color of the car, and I don't know if you can see it, but the original color of the car is white, but the white isn't entirely like pure white, and what I'm going to paint the car is pure white. So you can see that's a little more dull than like that. But that is, you know, original paint. So with that, that's a Millen Rallye car update. I know it's been a week since y'all have seen it, a little over a week, 2 weeks, whatever, but doing this kind of work takes a lot of time, and it's also very hard to gather motivation to do it because it's just tedious and a pain in the butt. So next time you guys see this thing, I'm gonna have the motor back in, and we'll have the front fender wells painted and stuff, and all this crustiness will be gone, and the wiring harness will be laying back in there looking tight. So that's kind of my project for next weekend, just so I gotta take a work trip next week. So then once that's done and it's running again, we're gonna strip it and paint the whole thing. And then once we get done painting the outside, then we're gonna strip the inside and paint the whole inside. So thanks for Tune it in. And keep it rad.